All right, Martin, you mentioned it. Team USA walloped Brazil. They next up have Serbia, which edged Australia in a great game. It was an overtime game. Patty Mills hit a 15-footer over 16-footer maybe over Nikola Jokic, who defended it about as well as he could. And Mills hit it to force overtime. But Serbia prevailed in OT, and so they will play the United States, and the winner will go to the gold medal game against either Germany or France, which beat Canada. I think it's going to be United States against Germany in the final. And what was that, a 4-point game, an exhibition? I get it. It was just an exhibition. But Germany, will not be easy. So leading scorers, Devin Booker dropped 18. Anthony Edwards, 17 off the bench. Anthony Davis, 13. Durant, 11. Joel Embiid, 14. Embiid, I'm going to give him credit like I did yesterday. He's played better the last 2 games. So good for him.
Played way
LeBron
better.
had 12 points and 9 assists. But here's the issue. Obviously, there's not much to say about this. They smashed Brazil as we knew they would. Most of us knew they would, except for Rob G. But Noah Lyles, who won the 100-meter gold medal in the greatest race I've ever seen, he, of course, said a year ago that the NBA champion, I'm paraphrasing, but wasn't necessarily the world champion because, it's the league. It's the national championship, of course. But is it really the world championship? And he's gone back and forth with some NBA players about that. Devin Booker most recently and yesterday. And Booker made a great point. Like, look, we got the best players in the world. It's not just the best American players playing in the NBA. It's the best players in the world. So it is the world championship. I can see both sides, but I do think it's high time. The world is improved enough. And I agree with Booker, Martin. Look, we have Nikola Jokic in the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic. They're in the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Canada. So we do have the best league in the world. There's no question. But I do think the world has improved enough where why not have a legitimate world championship where the winner of the NBA plays the winner of the EuroLeague? Or I don't know if there are any other leagues that are on par with the EuroLeague, but if there are, you have a round-robin tournament or whatever with those teams playing in it. That would certainly be more of a world championship. I think we've eaten enough humble pie to not just be like, look, NBA. And I agree the NBA is the best, but I'm just saying now that they're playing basketball all over the world, why not just have a world championship, so to speak?
But to answer your question, Chris, yes, Adam Silver over the weekend spoke to the Associated Press, and I'm surprised to get more run because what he told them is that he is having, quote, more serious conversations with FIBA because he's there and obviously this is the FIBA basketball about having some sort of USA versus the world, NBA World Cup, something of that effect. Nothing is in stone. Nothing is imminent. It's still no timetable. But he did say that they have really taken notice about the globalization of the game, and he would like to see more interaction between America's best and Europe's best.
Quickly before you go, Martin, what they need to do if they're going to do any of this is at the professional level, standardize the rules. 3-point line is the same distance. The ball is the same. The rules are the same. There's the goaltending. There's no defensive 3 seconds in international play. If you're going to start competing like meaningfully outside of the Olympics, outside of the World Cup and all, the FIBA World Cup and all that stuff, like on somewhat of a regular basis, you to make it fair, you have to standardize the rules. College can remain a little different, whatever. But the pros at every level in every country needs to play the same rules.
I mean, they could play the same rules. They could play different rules. The fact of the matter is, what we have seen through this international tournament is these other countries do not have a shot. Like when the Team USA is playing at its best, when Team USA players are locked in, there's no shot. And you know, all this would do, Chris, is honestly strengthen Team USA's shot every single year in the Olympics. Because if you're going to have these guys actually play together outside of the Olympics, then the whole trope that we hear about these international teams would be dead. It wouldn't be they've been playing together for so long, because you would have a legit Team USA 5-on-5 men's team that would go each summer.
I will say this about you've been playing together for so long. Oh, Czechoslovakia have been playing together for so long. Slovenia have been playing together for so long. I think that's a little overstated. I get it, maybe when they were growing up, they played together. But now they all go to their professional leagues and their professional teams during the year. Nikola Jokic isn't playing with these Serbian guys all the time.
No.
You know, so I think that needs to stop. That's been an excuse we've used. But it needs to stop, because these guys, Giannis isn't playing with the Greek players a lot.
No, but he's
playing with the Milwaukee Bucks.
I think
I don't care that you played together 6 years ago or 10 years ago when you're 15 years old or whatever. Things change.
Well, I do think it's a little different than that, just simply that, because I would agree in that regard. If you're talking about these guys grew up playing together, it's like, well, all right, well, I wouldn't put Drew Joyce on the Olympic team because LeBron's on it, right?
Right.
But I do think, like, when you see the story of Dennis Schroeder saying, basically, as he's like the kind of the captain of the German team, essentially telling Maxi Kleber, hey, we're good on you, pal, because you didn't play in the World Cup last summer. I think that's where it is. The summers that they have played together consecutively is the difference.
I get that, but still, it's a full year in between that. I mean, that, to me, again, I think we've used that as a bit of an excuse. I don't want to disregard it completely. But, Martin, I think what Adam Silver's talking about, and I think he's just throwing it out there and leaving a lot open.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not saying he may not try to put something together. But what I'm talking about, and I think what Adam's talking about, but definitely what I'm talking about, is not sending an all-star team, an all-NBA team every year to play the world. Because, again, that's what the Olympics is. And, right now, you're right. With LeBron and Steph and KD, we're beating them up. Let's see 4 years from now how it goes. And I think we'll win, but, I mean, it's going to be tougher. But what I'm actually saying, Martin, is the NBA champion. All right? Boston Celtics would play the winner, the champion of the EuroLeague in a series.
Come on, Chris.
That, you say come on, but we never, if we had never started sending our pros and playing against the world, we never thought some of these Olympic games would be so close. We never thought we'd actually lose with pros against the world. And I'm not saying we will lose. Believe me, I think we will win. But I'm just saying the world has gotten good enough where you can have a literal world championship. And the thing that those European teams will have versus a lot of the NBA teams may be playing better team basketball. Depends on which team they play in the NBA. But it might be playing better team basketball. And now, look, I'll say this, Martin. We have nothing to gain from this in the NBA.
Not a single thing.
But if you want to, to say you're the world champion now sounds good. Just like to say you the World Series. You're the world champion because you won the World Series. You ain't playing the best team from Japan.
Well,
and the way these Japanese brothers have come over and done in Major League Baseball, and the way they wiped the floor with us in the Little League World Series, who's to say our teams are automatically better than theirs? But we call them the world champions.
But that's baseball, which is different, which already
has
has their version.
I'm just using that as an example of how.
But they already have their version of this in the World Baseball Classic, because when you look at a baseball roster.
But that's not the version. They don't send a team, they send all-stars.
But look, that's
not a team. I'm talking about the NBA champion versus the EuroLeague champion.
The EuroLeague champion would lose the way that Brazil just got pounded into oblivion and is sent back home.
If that happens, then fine. If that happens, then fine. I'm cool with it. It's fine.
Yeah, I just don't see any need for the. I see no need for.
We've
for
had,
this
and I don't have the results in front of me because I know we won most of them. But Rob G, you know this. We used to play. It was something like the McDonald's exhibitions or something. And we used to send our NBA teams over to play in Europe. This is decades ago. You remember what I'm talking about, Rob G?
You had it right there, Chris. The McDonald's Championship, sometimes called the McDonald's Open, international basketball featuring the NBA champion against club teams from Europe and South America.
And we won the bulk of them, but correct me if I'm wrong, we didn't win all the time. And I get it. I'm sure a lot of our teams weren't, they're getting in shape because usually it was before the season, right? And they're just getting in shape almost like preseason. But we didn't win all of them. I mean, it sounds like you may have some type of summary there in front of you.
I do, and it did say that we won all of them.
We did win all of them?
Yes.
Okay.
What a shock.
9-0.
No, but it stopped. The last one was 1999.
So, Chris, the United, they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. If we want to put it together.
1991, the Lakers beat I don't know how to even say this, 116 to 114. Now, that was the year, that might have been Magic stopped playing, so obviously the Lakers weren't as good. The Knicks won in 1990, 117 to 101.
89, we won by 6, the Nuggets.
Yeah, I'm not saying, again, I would expect us to win. But what I'm saying, Martin, is the other leagues, I think, have gotten to the point of legitimacy, at least the EuroLeague, to where it's like they can rightly say, hey, we want to play y'all. We want to play y'all. And if we wipe the floor with them, so be it. But you know what? As we keep wiping the floor with them, just like it's happened in international play, maybe each year they get closer and closer. And then it really becomes a legitimate world championship.
Yeah, they taking a page out of Ice Cube's book.
Nah, I don't think so. I think you're underestimating. Again, I would expect us to win, but I think it would be it's worth maybe looking into, and we'll see if Adam Silver's doing that. Let's see what the listeners think. 877-99 on Fox. Would you like to see a literal world championship where the NBA champion, in this case the Celtics, would play the EuroLeague champion in a 7-game series? I would say, Martin, it certainly should be more than a one game. It would need
like a playoff series type of thing.
It would need to be a series because it wouldn't be fair. I mean, one and done, anything can happen. But it would need to be like a series, which I think would increase our chances of winning as much as we already would win. But I think if you did it, that'd have to be how you did it, and that does complicate it because it would be tougher. Just from a time frame standpoint, when do you do this?
Fox. All right, Kyle in Virginia, you're first up on the Odd Couple. What you got, my friend?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
Hey, I will have to say first that the show is better missing Rob than missing Chris. So I take a shot at Rob. Anyway,
it is Trash Talking Tuesday, I suppose.
Yeah,
right. There you go.
I'll have to agree with you, Martin. This is a dumb idea. I don't think it'd be a contest. However, I think what would be a better, more competitive game or series would be if we take United States players against the whole world. I think that would be more a better thing.
Now you have my attention.
Well, we've talked about that with the All-Star game, and I got to be honest. I don't want to see it. I'm not sure it would end well for the United States. Now, maybe right now, but take when LeBron's done and Steph's done and KD's, I'm not so sure. And I agree. I will say this. It is not in the NBA's best interest to pursue something like this, like a literal world champion, because it would just is the natural order of things. It would not belittle, but it would lessen the NBA championship. You know what I'm saying, Martin? Like, because that would just be almost like a conference championship. Like, okay, now you won the NBA, but the big thing is winning the world. You know, so it's not in their best interest. And if the other leagues ever won, then, you know, it takes away from the NBA. So I agree it's not in the best interest.
Can you pull the sound from yesterday when Chris was talking about, I'm from the era where the fighters fight each other, right? Yellow belly. No, I'm just playing.
No, I mean, I'm saying, no. I'm just saying it's not in their best interest, but I'm saying I'd like to see it.
I mean,
I don't work for the NBA.
Let's get one more in real quick. Paul in Bakersfield, you're on the Odd Couple.
Hey, fellas, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, man, Chris just mentioned that he think it would take away from the NBA. I disagree with that. I think it would actually add that because it would cause more viewers to want to see the game because now you're looking at everybody around the world. And if you have to take the title world champions, then you would need to play other players or other basketball teams in the world. And I think if you did do something like that, I think instead of a 7-game series, you have to look at the guys that have to come back next season and play. I think you should make it a 3-game, the best out of 3. I think that would add more everything to the game, or the best out of 5 at the most. So I think that would be a great idea for the NBA team to win the finals and then come over and play other teams in the world.
Well, I think you're saying from a business perspective. Now, remember, the world does see NBA games. Like, they are on all over I mean, maybe not every single, country, but they're on throughout the world for the most part.
Sure.
And when I say something to lose, if the NBA loses, whatever the loser series, it can't rightfully lay claim to saying it's the best league in the world anymore. And at least not for that year. So that's where I mean it could have something to lose.